It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back, everybody. This is your Feel Good Breakfast Show right here on SABC3. It is Monday, of course, and we are just into the topic of relationships. And if you didn't know, we are 318 days into South Africa's COVID-19 lockdown. And for some of us, that is precisely the last time we conducted our working life away from home and were able to interact with our teams and also our colleagues in the same workspace online. And as I mentioned, it is Monday, and that means we're talking all things relationships. And today we're asking you, how do you connect with your colleagues while working remotely?
That's right. So we are joined by clinical psychologist Asha Dullabh. She's with us alongside friend of Expresso and industrial psychologist Kim-Lee Ricketts, and they are here to help us this morning as we unpack this topic and also we are taking your questions and comments via our Facebook page. So head on over online, ask those comments, or also you can call us. Our studio line is open. That number is 021 110 5552. Please connect with us. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning. Good
A very important topic today.
Absolutely. So great to have Kim join me.
Thank you for having me, and I'm really excited to be here, and to chat to all of you.
It's so interesting because I can't believe that 318 days ago we were all normal life, going into work, but now a lot of people are finding themselves working remotely from home. I'll start with you, Asha. Why is it so important for us to connect and also just be around people and in a working space?
Well, we all are wired to connect, and we are in the digital age, so we are needing to connect to maintain good, healthy relationships, for giving us a sense of belonging, to redefine our purpose. You know, we feel safe, we feel we build our teams in that way. Yeah, so it's vital that we connect, because it also creates capacity for our energy, for our fulfillment, and for our passion, which we need in our workspace, creativity and insight and inspiration.
And you need those connections. I mean, you share so much of not only your personal life, but your day-to-day decision-making with your colleagues. And Kim, I'm going to ask you this question. Being isolated from your colleagues and, you know, not being able to share with them, it can also have a negative impact on your mental health. So for people working from home, how can they maintain that connection, but at the end of the day, also improve their mental health status?
So exactly to what Asha said, connecting with people is obviously part of what we do. We're human beings, we're wired to connect. And in this digital age, what's prevalent, or what's become more prevalent in companies, is that people are feeling isolated. People are also feeling burnt out because they're working longer hours and they're not finding time to actually switch off. What is important in terms of mental health is to take a step back and to take back the control. The space that you're finding yourself in is uncertain, and now it's about, how do I find myself in this new space and define the new space for me? So it's about taking back that control. What I find works is a check-in at the beginning of every week with my manager remotely. So whether in the morning I would grab a cup of coffee with my manager, it's now like instituting that and actually just starting up doing that again. At the end of the week, checking out, to be able to set the goals for the week with the check-in, and the check-out to reflect, so that you maintain that connection to how you would predominantly show up in the workplace. From a mental health perspective, what it does is just also create that space for formal connection in terms of, this is the work, this is what we need to do, but also the informal connection in terms of, how are you? So taking a step back and just reflecting on, where am I at for that week? Something else we've also done in terms of mental health is looking at co-creating virtual working spaces. So when you go into the office, you'd be in a room together, you'd sit much like this and you'd brainstorm. Yeah. What I've started doing is actually setting up time with my colleagues to say, let's work together, let's create that virtual working space where we can all bring together something we're struggling with to connect on that level. So from a mind perspective, it's tapping into those, not just being the mom at home, but now also being the worker, to separate that a bit for each other and for ourselves. Yeah.
I absolutely love that, creating that space for that. But how often should we be doing that? How often should we be checking in and checking up on our colleagues and our work people?
I think as regular as possible. Generally, companies are doing once a week, like Kim says, check-ins, but really, you know, having that emotional resonance with your team players and checking in on a one-on-one level is important, but as well as within small groups. I think where teams are quite big, we can maybe look at having smaller group meetings where people then feel more safer to share. And like him saying, you know, asking the questions, how are you? and really getting into the depth of authentic conversation. And also a very important question is, how can I help? Because people are struggling at the moment, and that isolation, not only physically, but isolated in their minds and their hearts. So, yeah.
There is that isolation, and there's also something about getting to the office where you're just like, okay, this is now my space, and a lot of people are deprived of that. Well, Asha Dullabh and Kim-Lee Ricketts, they're not going anywhere. They are staying with us as we unpack your work relationships and keeping them healthy, especially while working remotely. Please connect with us. Our lines are open, as well as you can direct your questions onto our Expresso Facebook page.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Yes, welcome back to it, your feel-good breakfast show. It is Expresso. We are live on SABC3, the month of love, the week of love. Thank you very much for choosing to start this week off with us. And we're talking relationships. Today, for our relationship advice segment, we are asking a big question. How do you connect with your colleagues while working remotely? Clinical psychologist Asha Dullabh, alongside friend of Expresso and industrial psychologist Kim-Lee Ricketts, are here today to help us discuss and unpack this. And we want you to share your thoughts. We want to hear from you on our Facebook page, Expresso Morning Show SABC3. Remember to use that hashtag Expresso Show, but you can also call us 021 110 552. Ladies,
Hello.
big question, right?
Absolutely.
Kim, I'll start with you for this one. A lot of us are spending time, on Zoom meetings, and it can become quite monotonous to spend your day, the entire day, on this visual, platform. How can we use tools like music and, other things to break away from this monotonous cycle?
So I think the beauty of the virtual space is that there are no rules at the moment. So anything goes. It leaves the room for play.
Yes.
And through music, as you've mentioned, some of the things I've implemented is starting a meeting with music. So having people join, but having music on, and you can immediately see the shift in terms of energy, in terms of just the mood, and I like to call it mood music. So what we also do is get people to submit their songs, and we create certain playlists for them. So, and I think the beauty of it is to see their faces light up when their song plays. They're like, that's my jam.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the virtual space has created. So using things like music to just give that break in terms of coming from one Zoom call to another.
Yes.
We've also introduced things like quizzes, so where we do, asking some questions during a meeting session. So tools like Mentimeter, which is something where you can create a question, get people to interact and engage with you in that way. And what that does is also allow people to get involved. So you're not talking at people all the time. But that break in the Zoom meeting to say, okay, cool, we're having an ad break, so fastest, we said it's not fastest fingers first, it's fastest network first now that happens.
Love it.
In terms of people just being able to connect and engage in a different way, and that creates I think the balance. For me, it also looks at, well, Jared is rehearsing for most part, so people get free shows. I said, because we're merging the two worlds, it's them hearing him sing in the background and now going, guys, okay, quick ad break, we've got a free show coming up, we'll get kiddies joining, and I think, again, as I mentioned, there are no rules. So the play element in terms of laughter also comes in, because you see people authentically, you see the real person, with them having their kids join the calls. It now shows that, in this time, what it's really called for is a time of understanding and empathy. So there's been an increased empathy and understanding for having things like that happen. And I think that really does break the whole, routine in terms of just being strict work, focused career.
Yes.
It's now, how do we look at the whole person, or the person as a whole?
And that's become very, very important, right? Because the virtual world, and what it's done is that it's disrupted the way that we culture ourselves in human connection, and which is such an important thing. If you were working at an office, you have the opportunity to interact with people, laugh at jokes that they're telling across the room or across the office, go out for a coffee break or whatever break you're taking, be able to, do all sorts of different things. The virtual world really has disrupted that, but it also means we have to find some sort of balance.
Yes.
Balance is important. Let's talk about balance and striking balance, Asha.
So, I mean, with our virtual world, what's happening with remote working is that we have other aspects of our life that's also come into that space. We have children at home. This is our home, was meant to be our nurturing space, so now we have quite a lot happening at the same time. So balance actually ties in with time management, having a routine, because that will give us a sense that we have some sense of control in our day. And I love what Kim says of keeping it light and also tapping into music, because music actually taps into our vagus nerve, which is our our parasympathetic nervous system.
You say vagus.
The vagus
Well,
nerve.
that got me really excited.
And that's
Vegas. Let's go.
That's our relaxation response, which is wonderful. We need to feel relaxed in that space. And also what I love about what Kim's saying is all these ways of connecting. To create that sense of balance, it's about that lightness. And also we have pets around us.
Yes.
So let's have, invite your pet to the session.
I love that.
Let's have sessions where we can look at what we can congratulate people on. Have a congrats day, because everyone is achieving on many aspects of their lives. So yeah, balance is important, and it means just finding balance in all aspects and allowing time and giving ourselves permission for self-care in this time. Time for relaxation and rest, because people are feeling quite zoomed out on the virtual.
People are
Zoomed
zoomed out.
Yes.
People really are zoomed out.
I think, I'm sorry, Asha mentioned self-care, but also self-love. With it being the month of love, it's really reflecting and going, what does this mean for me? Where do I find myself, and how do I pay more attention to where I'm at by loving myself a little bit more?
You can only do that by listening to yourself,
Yes.
listening to yourself, being connected with yourself. And when you are connected with yourself, you're able to better connect with others and share that experience with them. I love it. Well, we would like you to continue to engage with us on our social media, Expresso Morning Show SABC3. Let's hear from you, or you can give us a call, right?
Absolutely. And the girls will still be joining us for how to connect with your special loved one for Valentine's Day.
Love that.